There's spiritual warfare, right? And then there's actual warfare. In order to do what I'm calling spiritual warfare, right? I had to at least have some military experience. I don't even have a military background. I went to boot camp like for the Marine Corps, right? And I didn't make it through. So, but I made it to like the firing range, the rifle range, shooting at targets. They didn't let me use the bayonet on at the end of the freaking rifle. But like I have it's not even any military experience at all. Okay, but even before I even got there, like I studied like comparative politics and maybe some economics and a little some things like that. But I suppose I had the spirit to actually think of world events in an analytical way. So this peace deal that President Trump brokered, right, with Hamas and Israel, supposedly the end of the war in Gaza. Freaking my opinions about all that is that freaking it was kind of like a pathetic type of war. You know, the Hamas, right? They have a lot of hatred towards the Israelis, and the thing is that the Israelis they had more how do I say more weaponry, more technology, more firepower, more manpower. As for Hamas, mostly Muslims, right? And their Islam and their jihad. It's not even jihad. Like the Israeli state was started like in like supposedly like after World War II, and then they took out they pushed the Palestinians out of their land, and of course, as for the British and the Jews, they believe that that's their homeland. That's the land that they belong to, as per even the Bible and and uh and ancient history. And so the funny thing about the Israelis is that their enemies now are so weak, are weak enough that they can be bombing them in the Gaza Strip, and then the Palestinian people, they're suffering and they ain't got food to eat. And if you want to talk about like cold hard freaking logic and freaking calculations, you say the IDF they were trying to target and try to freaking take out the enemy, right? Take out the Hamas and kill the freaking leaders and their fighters in dense like civilian areas where they're fighting in hospitals, in buildings and roads and bombing the place, and then at the same time allowing humanitarian aid to come in. And it's like, as for me, I may be a Christian. I suppose the Christians they're supposed to freaking be on the side of the Israelis, right? Because of Christian history and the fact that God supposedly chose the Jews to freaking propagate, not even propagate, freaking move the freaking the gospel and the word of God. It came through the freaking Israelites and all that. And it's like so they were scattered from Israel and had to go throughout all the world, right? Mostly in Europe. And you have World War fucking two. Say the enemies of Israel were much stronger, right? They just want to crush the enemy totally. Freaking that's a freaking a difficult proposition, of course. And if you talk about the way that the Hamas fighters fight and the way they recruit their fighters, if they want to say who's more intense, whose fighting was more intense, the Hamas fighters or the Israeli fighters. Say you want to talk about weak men versus strong men, right? The say were the actual fighters on the Hamas side, are they physically weaker than the Israelis? I say that's a little bit dubious. Okay, and some of them might be actually were actually a kind of I guess maybe a little bit stronger than some of the Israelis, but maybe on average, maybe the Israeli freaking fighters were IDF were physically stronger, than the Hamas fighters. But as per the intensity of their fight and what their fight is about, it's I suppose the Hamas fighters were more their fight was more of an existential fight, as per Israel and the freaking Hamas and Hezbollah firing rockets into Israel, right? You say it was a type. It's a type of torture, not a torture, but kind of an evil in the eyes of the Israelis that they have the air raid sirens and they have to hide from the freaking rockets that are being bombarded onto their territory. Talk less of Iran firing rockets into Israel. The thing is that Israel is a small country, right? But then Gaza is even smaller, even within Israel. And they have to exist. They can't be eliminated altogether. But with every freaking battle and fight that they've ever had with freaking Hamas, freaking, it's ridiculous what they're fighting about. What they're fighting about. They can't destroy Hamas altogether. They can't even destroy the Palestinians altogether. You want to think of their enemies as insects and cockroaches that they want to destroy and stamp out, right? And it's like, concerning what my spiritual warfare was about, it wasn't just about praying in tongues and freaking being in fervent prayer. It was experiential. Okay, it was my experiences in life and my going through different things and situations, and even my biology, my physical body, and my sexuality, my masturbation, and my sex, and my intelligence. If you want to speak of demons and angels, demon time, angel time, freaking, you want to talk about the devil, and the mind of the devil is just the mind of the war itself, and the intensity of the war. If I was less intelligent and the devil was somehow using my mind, my masturbation, and my sex to then freaking think about the war, and that my mind was just a consciousness connected to the consciousness of the entire fucking war in freaking Gaza, right? And as for the intensity of defending manhood, right? And defining and redefining manhood, and what defeat would actually feel and look like for a man that thinks in a certain way about himself. And for me, concerning even like prayer and spiritual warfare, it's like it has to do with the amount of patience I even had, or patience and even confidence. The patience that the spirits that be that are related to me and connected to me somehow, or that how much they were able to freaking withstand concerning even pain itself. And of course, over time, concerning my experiences so far with trying to empathize with the Gazans, right, and the Palestinians, and their food shortages and going on food. It's like it just had to do with going to church and freaking going to food pantries to empathize and sympathize with them, right? Concerning duration of sexual activity, and then freaking intensity of my actual passions, which I was not completely expressing. That to do some more spiritual warfare related to even the war in Ukraine, it would mean going homeless, going to a homeless shelter, then finding another place to stay, and then freaking masturbating some more and having some more sex, and then reading a bunch of books and writing a bunch of papers, and then making videos on the internet, and then freaking speaking about things that are supposedly supposed to be my secrets, but my secrets are supposedly your secrets. They're all our secrets, right? But I'm not ready to philosophize again, and I'm not ready to freaking prophesy with porn and sex about the entire fucking world. I'm not ready to do that again for freaking the war in Ukraine. So will this particular war within the Gaza, what I want to say from like a social science perspective, right, is that supposedly, if there's a lasting peace, that's when you could say then that the war is freaking over. But then that's when you would say, oh, that would be just a 2 year war. The war just lasted for 2 years. Hamas they legitimately agreed to a freaking end of the war. I'll go over the details of that, later. But it's like, what happened to freaking things like the 100-year war, man? Like, well, who would want a war to last that long, right? Freaking sacrificing wealth, right? The cross, the symbols of the freaking cross, right? Wealth, that's what that one looks like. For wisdom, right? Or we could reverse it and say wisdom for wealth. Then you say either freaking not even crucifixes. They're not even crucifixes. They're freaking well done. They're crosses, not crucifixes. But and anyhow, over the years, freaking sacrificing one thing for another. So you don't have to sacrifice anything. You can keep both wisdom and knowledge and right and wealth and gain some more wealth. There'll be more money to be made in the future. Freaking concerning uh the philosopher Slavoj Zizek, right? Crazy ass motherfucker, right? Very difficult psychology. If I was even, I'm not a psychologist or a psychoanalyst, but it's like he does a lot of film criticism. Say the film criticism that was done in the spirit way back in 2013, watching a film called 12 Years a Slave. So for 12 years, I was supposedly a slave to sin. Is that what you mean, right? A slave to sin, a particular sort of sin, but then it became all the sins in the world. If you want to speak of the angel Lucifer, right? The fallen angel Lucifer. Hey, I'm not a Luciferian. You want a black man to be a Luciferian? That'd be difficult, wouldn't it? Freaking I don't even like Barack Obama. Freaking, I should have liked him, right? Right when he was president, it would have been good to freaking graduate around the time when he was president. That would have been ideal for me. But a lot of people don't like these ideals. You got a calculus textbook and freaking mechanical pens. That's supposed to be German, right? I won't tell you why I'm thinking of German, but just freaking it can't. I'll study some things in mechanical engineering, right? Because to the civil engineer, freaking, you say mechanical engineering, all you're talking about is warfare. You want to make a machine gun? Because I was really on the freaking bus to go freaking tour freaking a campus, right? And so the guy that freaking wanted to build machine guns. Say good for him, right? But then he said, "Fuck God, man." He said, "Fuck God." And I was like, "Oh, you can't possibly say fuck God. What do you mean by fuck God? You can't be saying fuck God." They're freaking years, man. But it's still, that's the poll. The will of God is still the same. Freaking right. So goodness of God, right? I had fainted lest I had seen the goodness of God in the land of the living. Freaking, let's look at this freaking essential water, right? It's my essence. It's kind of a smaller essential water bottle. It's closer to the actual, length of my freaking dick, right? And say my essence, right? See, I drank it up to a certain level, but then I filled it up again, right? Say, if you want to talk about testosterone replacement therapy, I didn't even do any testosterone replacement therapy. I took a bunch of freaking pills, freaking from like Nugenics, Essential Palace, freaking just testosterone pills and freaking herbal remedies, right? So freaking to freaking make me make me freaking hard again, freaking capable again. Okay, so I can be active and operational, sexually operational always, and sexually active at the right time. Yeah, got a physics textbook, my freaking my freaking Bible, right? I have more Bibles on my relationship to the Word of God. Freaking I'm not Muslim, right? But there's special reasons why I sympathize more with the Palestinians and Hamas, not just because of the suffering of the freaking Palestinian people. It's because of freaking the cold heartedness of the freaking IDF and the freaking Israeli freaking government and the freaking American government and freaking all of NATO and all of fucking Europe freaking sending millions of dollars to these bitches to freaking have freaking military equipment and bombs and machine guns and freaking tanks. Freaking yeah, it's about asymmetric warfare. Like the freaking the Palestinians are they're trying to, they're so emotional over freaking 1,000 or so people, and then the amount of casualties that the freaking Israelis are inflicting on the Palestinians far outweighs the freaking casualties of the freaking of the Palestinians and what they did and what Hamas did. And say about the brutality. Is it about brutality or the freaking just evil? All evil? Say we're gonna say all of war is evil. Shut up. It's good to freaking have a fair fight. If they want to talk about what my experiential wisdom and my philosophy, my loving of wisdom. First of all, hate. First, if you hate wisdom, freaking that wouldn't that be foolishness? So it actually become loving of wisdom, I suppose. Freaking you want it goes back to freaking wanting a fair fight, no, fair fight, a fair fight. With my freaking brother, right? Also, no fair fight was a as per intensity and passion and fire to actually fight with someone when you're physically weaker than the person you want to fight with. It's about the nastiness of your fight and the lack of honor and lack of freaking and the freaking shamelessness of your fight. What it would take to level the playing field with the American military and the IDF and Hamas. What it would take to level the playing field when it comes to actually fighting a war. You say it can't be equal. They can't be on equal levels. If for Hamas and they're fighting, they have to be on a moral high ground. That's what maybe allows them to freaking fight as intensely as they have. I say if it's a real peace deal, it'll be a lasting peace, right? I suppose when it comes to accepting defeat or accepting the terms of peace, is like they wanted to fight even more, and if they want to talk of all the freaking Arab freaking nations that freaking tried that helped to freaking put the peace deal together. You say we want peace in the Middle East, but in reality, they would have realistically speaking, they would have liked the war to drag on a little bit more. You understand? That's for the fire for their fight, right? They would have liked the war to drag on for a few more years. That's what I'm sensing. Even though these Gulf nations, these billions and billions of dollars, freaking Saudi Arabia, not even know Saudi. I know I'll have to check the facts more as to which freaking nations actually freaking were part of the deal, right? Got to watch some more news instead of just going on the internet to figure out what's going on. Actually, I don't even have a fucking TV. But that can be taken care of, right? So that's as much of my bed that you can even look at. Okay. I want to talk about Barack Obama and his ass. Freaking talking about the Syrian war. They're talking about he was trying to draw a red line and say if you draw that if you cross the red line and cross and start and use and if Bashar al-Assad uses chemical weapons, that freaking then we gonna fight a real war with them and get involved. But that didn't happen. But you say years and years later, freaking the Syrian civil war came to an end. Bashar al-Assad freaking fled Syria, and freaking there's the rebels or whatever, they're in control of Syria now. So like Obama didn't have to start a war with Syria. The war ended on its own. We say, was that a wise decision or was that a foolish decision? Say, with all the freaking knowledge and expertise of leadership, what type of leader would I be, eh? concerning even leadership, it seems like leadership only means a few things to me. It means, oh, can I lead myself, right? If when the issues of myself is not that complicated, like myself is not that philosophical, it's not a philosophical question. Okay, I am myself. Okay, and then when it comes to leadership, oh, can I lead a family? Can I lead my wife and my children, etc.? Supposing I will get along to freaking accomplishing that feat of fucking engineering, if that's what you want to call it. Freaking, the funny thing about freaking the high school I went to two high schools. Okay, I went to West Babylon High School in Long Island, and I kind of wish I graduated from there because my life would have taken a different turn if I had graduated from West Babylon High School. Okay, but I came, me and my fam before my fam. Okay, and my family and my family. Right, this ain't Full House, bitch. Freaking, we moved to New York City. All right, and I went to Eleanor Roosevelt High School. And freaking, to some extent, I wish I had gone to an all African American high school or a different high school than Eleanor Roosevelt. Because the spirit of Eleanor Roosevelt is what I do not like. I don't want to talk about the United Nations, about freaking politics. I'm already talking politics. You know, it's a lot of the females that go to that freaking high school that they're Eleanor Roosevelt encourages them to be freaking politicians. You know, I call her Hillary Clitoris. It's just that's a reminder that she don't have a dick, that she a woman and she has a clitoris, not a dick. And for Michelle, freaking, she ugly as fuck, man. She doesn't even know what the fuck she's doing. She said, "Oh, I want to freaking be independent. I want to make my own decisions." Like she don't. I don't. Do I know what I'm doing? Or does she know what she's doing? Michelle is lost in the sauce. And as for Sasha and Malia, freaking, oh, you think I want to be confident enough around Sasha and Malia? So if I could marry Sasha and Malia, what would I look like? It would be very interesting. I'm older than them, right? But how much education? I have a lot of confidence in what I think I've learned. So freaking, they don't even know what the fuck they're doing. Why didn't they study something else more induced? They'll always find some way to freaking make money. Freaking. Freaking, which one do I want to marry? Freaking Sasha or Malia? Whichever one is, I like the skinny one than the fatter one. To tell you the truth, freaking, what is the truth, eh? Freaking, I just say simply something. I summarize something by simply saying, "Oh, she heard me," and that means a few things. She actually heard me. If it's about freaking teenage love or puppy love or some that freaking a teenage drama that was never resolved, but that I was able to resolve the teenage drama at like freaking 30 years old. So I resolved that one. So I was like, she heard me, and then she said, "Oh, he did it." Okay, that makes some sense, right? Freaking, if you even wanted to use freaking the Diddy trial to say something, he's probably gonna get off freaking earlier than freaking 5 years or so. He's not gonna stay in jail for that long. But it was a victory that they didn't put him in there for freaking 20 years. Freaking, it's more than just bridges, okay? Bridges and buildings. Like you learn some freaking thermodynamics, fluid dynamics, and shit. I mean, the basic physics class allows me to understand some things, right? But that's per engineering. You even know what that freaking is. It's something, right? But it's like how in depth I have to go into like physics, right? And calculus and mathematics and say, we want to talk about witchcraft and philosophy and sex and masturbation and porn and all of that. That made me afraid of even the idea of change. Freaking going to a church called freaking World Changers Church or freaking the Creflo Dollar Ministries, right? I want to be a world changer, but they moved the church out of freaking New York City. So they're just freaking they have different locations all over America and around the world, but freaking they're just based in freaking what's it called? College Park, Georgia. Right? Like I would have liked to stay with them to believe, right? But I'm going to a different church now, eh? Freaking civil engineering, man. And it's the spirit of the profession that I'm not liking so much. See, I want to be able to appreciate some of the smaller things, right? So I say, oh, what happened to your freaking crucifix? Say, it's still there. Live your life in peace and love. Oh my God, freaking what's happening? Can't stand. Freaking standings, blah blah blah. Freaking, hey, say, more subtle time, right? I can appreciate other fields of engineering, right? If I'm actually offended by what I'm supposed to be, how I'm supposed to behave as a man, right? It's a manhood is performative, isn't it? I'm just acting. So a little bit of theater, right? All the fucking like departments of the humanities, all the humanities. It's just skin deep, okay? Skin deep with all the freaking humanities, right? And it's like, okay, we went a little deeper with philosophy, but still I didn't get a degree with that one, right? Oh, I want to go back to college, junior university again. Like, when's that's gonna happen? I don't know. I'm just trusting God as it's going to work out one way or another. Freaking the world changes church, Creflo Dollars ministry, freaking change. The idea of change only meant a few things in the world of witchcraft. It meant what? Catastrophe. Okay, catastrophe means one thing, right? Negativity means one thing, right? And freaking wearing different masks and taking off all the masks, right? That means another thing, right? That's all change meant to me. I was way too afraid. Freaking to another extent, like the spirits that were working with me, they were like, "Oh man, freaking no, not old man like that." They say you have to be innocent again. You're not innocent enough. You have to be innocent in the heart of God. You have to freaking rebirth you. Oh, I have to rebirth me before you can even leave my mother and father's house. You have to be saved. You have to need some salvation before you leave mother and father's house. See, that's the wrong way to leave your mother and father's house. That's the wrong way. Say, we've already done things the wrong way. I want to do things the right way. Yeah, that's just a freaking. It's just like it's not even a picture book. It's like kind of like a picture book or so. Hey. But it's like it's just reminder, okay? Because it seems like it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while to accomplish the things that I desire. So I have a lot of other talents or whatnot, but it's not related to that talent. So it's just very annoying. Everything is I overcome. I'm not confused. I confound the confounder. All right. I'm not trying to confound myself. I'm not confused. I'm not confounded. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. It is the power of God to repentance for the Jews and the Gentiles, etc. Freaking impatient. The entire world was impatient with the world war in Gaza. As for the damage that was being done to Hamas, it was too much for them, I suppose. But now, concerning Christianity and being in the body of Christ and what the war in Gaza meant for my soul, my spirit, and the rest of my life, I guess it's a matter of intense spirituality, right? So I don't want to imagine myself as an IDF soldier or a Hamas soldier, right? I just say, I look upon the world. If I imagine myself as the spirit of the goodness of God looking upon the world, I say, freaking, I have good judgment. Give me good judgment. Go to Psalm 119. Freaking, if I want to freaking use the freaking scriptures to freaking talk about my intelligence and my IQ, so I'm that worried about. I don't worry, but say I'm that concerned about my intelligence levels. Say I just go to the Psalms, right? I say the IQ. I see middle of the road. What do you mean? Fuck, you mean my middle of the road IQ? Freaking my intelligence. I just believe that supernaturally my intelligence is at 130 IQ. I'm above average. Freaking not 120. Jump 10 points to 130. Add another 135 IQ. Man, you can do that, right? Just by believing, by faith in Jesus Christ, that I have 130 IQ points. I ain't losing no IQ points, bitch. And there's more to that. There's the bodily intelligence, right? So does my body think more than my mind? My body is thinking, my flesh thinking, my mind, my intellect. I'm thinking. Every part of me is thinking. But then when it's time to really think, I can think. Anyhow, this civil engineering is like, if we don't like war bad, peace good. Okay, that simple. At least watch some sports, man. I can do that, right? I can still play some sports. I can get my fitness back up to where it needs to be, right? To some extent, almost maybe. And eating the right food, making money, be more pragmatic about life instead of like, see. Sometimes I say I need to kind of tone down the expression, but as for what all you want to see, you can see what you want to see. But all of you will experience the goodness of the Lord, of the goodness of God, right, in the land of the living.